It's Russell back with Gwinnett Lawns in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Today is September the 12th, 2021, and on today's video I am going to show you how to change both the hydro belt and the blade belt on your Trimstar lawnmower. So let's go over to the unit in question here. This is the 54-inch Trimstar. I have this up on blocks right now just so I can have a little bit easier time showing you how to do this. This is not necessary to do either of these belts, although it does make it a little bit easier. So one thing I am going to tell you guys is to make sure on any mower that you have to make doubly sure that you don't get a lot of debris or pine cones in here if you have pine trees in your area. As you can see, there is a little bit of grass in there. I blow this off every single time I cut, but I still manage to get a lot of debris in there. So this, I've had to replace this belt once. I had to replace this spring once. It broke. This belt has come off because of pine cones getting wedged up right there, and it damaged the belt, and then the belt, well, a couple hours later, after it was back on, actually broke. So what we're going to do is pretend that this belt is broken, or you just want to replace it because of wear. But generally, on 3-blade mowers, you're going to have the crank pulley, which I'll show you in a minute. It'll come around a stationary pulley that's got, like this would be an idler. Then you've got one blade over here. You've got another idler, a blade, depending on your setup, and the third blade over here. This right here is the tensioner, and this keeps tension on the blade because that's obviously that's needed. This design is a very simple design, and it works quite well. Now, if your hydro belt has broken or you want to replace it, generally speaking, the hydro belt is higher, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, is higher up on the engine. There's 2 pulleys. This pulley right here that you see is the lower pulley, and that goes to the blades, and then the upper pulley up here goes around the engine also. Generally speaking, your hydro belt is going to be a stacked design like this, and it'll be higher, so you will have to remove this belt right here in order to slip the belt over. Now, the reason that I'm replacing this hydro belt is because I'm going to show you guys something. See this gigantic bolt right here? That bolt has backed out twice on me. I'm assuming they put Loctite on it at the factory and it just backed out, and this whole pulley got really loose and the blade, the belt popped off. So if you lose your belt, then you've got no way to move the mower. So I put Loctite on it and it was fine. However, with it doing that several times, it gouged up the side of the belt here, and I just want to go ahead and replace it because this is much easier to replace. It is doable in the field, but it's much easier to do it in a controlled environment like this where I'm not laying in the grass, stuff like that. So there's a lot less tension on this belt than on the other belt. So what I'm going to do is we're going to remove the blade belt, and I'm just going to take it off. All right, so I just took an automotive paint marker. What I had was yellow, and this will be really easy if the blades, if you find the blade belt broken. So I basically put the arrows where the belt actually touches the pulley itself. Goes around that way, and around that way, then around this, and this takes the guesswork out of it. Now obviously if the blade broke, or I keep saying the blade, if the belt broke, these pulleys would be clock different, but you can just turn them. But it gives you the idea of which way the belt goes if you don't have a diagram. All right, so let's get this belt off, and at least off of the pulley itself, and then I'll show you how to take the hydro belt loose. All right, so the easiest way to do this, if the belt has not broken, is just take your hand against this pulley and force it like this so there's slack, and just take it off right here. Just like that. Wind it around here, and then let it come back, just like that. So what that did is took the tension off, and it's still on the pulley on the engine, and we'll go around the side here. And since there's really no tension on it, we can just very gently slide the belt and just let it sit right there. So the hydro belt is just as easy. The belt goes around the outsides, and it goes around this part right here of the tensioner, and then it goes around the pulley on the engine itself. And I'm going to put some, well, that's not necessary to do that. So, yep. So let me, I don't think there's a way I can hold the camera. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to relieve the tension off of this. It's going to take me 2 hands, and I'm just going to undo the belt right here, and then I'll show you what it looks like underneath. All right, so I did the same thing. I just pushed this with my thumb. It's not hard. And I took it off this side right here, and I'm going to loop it over this side like this. So now that's off. And then underneath, here's the tensioner. All right. And then it's off like that. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. And it just comes out just like that. And then comes out just like that. So here is the old belt, and it, you know, it could have gone. It got chewed up a little bit on the edge. Here's the factory new belt. You can see the difference. It got chewed up quite a bit. I'll keep this one as an emergency spare, but just make sure they're the same, which they are. So the installation is just the reverse. All right. I'm going to take this part and bring the slack up. All right, and all right, so let me show you what I've done. I just looped it around here, okay, around the pulley right here, okay. I brought it around. I put it around the tensioner right here. It's just really loose, okay. I wrapped it around the, we're going to call it the right hand side hydro, and I'll show you that in a minute. And it's not on this side yet. It's not on the left side. The reason that we do that is because it's a lot easier to get your hand and see this side, this hydro pump, as opposed to this one. I'm just going to take my hand and take the tension up from the with the belt and just slide it over the hydro pump. And a little trick is, as you're doing this, you can kind of get this in the groove and just roll it in just like that. This is like the most horrible thing to try to film. Okay, so you see we've got the tensioner on there. It's around this side. You can feel it with your hand on this side. The only way to really get a good shot on this would be to remove the battery, but you can feel it with your hand. And then it rides in the tensioner like this, okay? And then of course, just take your hand and make sure that it's on the engine part. And maybe you guys can see this, I don't know. Right here. All right, so at this point, the only thing left to do is to put this blade belt back on. And I'll just slide this up like this, slip this over the pulley. All right. Now, if you've got a small little clamp or something that you can put here, that would help, because as soon as I let this go, it's probably going to fall. All right, so it's on this side. It's right there. And what we need to do is put the belt between these two pulleys. Just like that, all right? And I'll put this here like this. So the easiest way to do it is just like I'm doing it. So that the very last pulley that you have to get this over is this right here. You could do either side. I just usually do this side. So, all right, it's still on the engine, and just now once you get it there, you can just hold it with your thumb, and it just rolls on just like that. All right, so that's pretty much it. Filming the awkwardness of this just takes longer, so 10 minutes you can replace both belts and you're back on the road. All right, guys, well, I'm sorry for the goofy camera messing around. It's just, this is really hard to shoot by yourself. But anyway, hopefully that will help somebody. If you don't have a Trimstar, then, well, it's gonna be nearly identical on almost all the mowers. So if you have, you know, whatever brand, just do that trick where you mark it. Go ahead and mark your pulleys now before the belt breaks. I did it on the right, but the right has a diagram